Frostbite, Chapter 17. What do you think you're doing? She demanded. Her voice was still too loud as far as I was concerned. Nothing. Excuse me, Lord Ashwa. She growled. Then, like I was 5 years old, she grabbed me by my arm and jerked me out of the room. Champagne slurged out of my glass and splashed onto the skirt of my dress. What do you think you're doing? I exclaimed. Once we were out in the hall. Mournfully, I looked down at my dress. This is silk. You could have ruined it. She grabbed the champagne flute and set it down on the nearby table. Good. Maybe it will stop you from dressing up like a cheap whore. Wow. I said, shocked. That is kind of harsh. And where do you get off the turning motherly all of a sudden? I gestured to the dress. This is not exactly cheap. You thought it was nice of Tasha to give it to me. That is because I don't expect you to wear it out with a morai and make a spectacle of yourself. I am not making a spectacle of myself, and anyway, it covers everything up. A dress that tight might as well be showing everything. She retorted. She, of course, was dressed in the Guardian black, tailored black lines pants and a matching blazer. She had a few curves of her own, but the clothing hid them, especially when you're with a group like that. Your body, conspicuous, and flirting with a moral does not really help. I was not flirting with him. The accusation made me anger because I felt I could be on the really good behavior lately. I used to flirt all the time and do other things with Morai guys, but after a few talks and one embarrassing incident with Dremet, I could realize how stupid that was. Dampier girls did have to be careful with Morai guys, and I kept that in my mind all the time now. Something pity occurred to me. Besides, I said mockingly, is not it that what I am supposed to do? Hook up with a Morai and further any raise? It is what you did. She growled, not when I was your age. You were only a few years older than me. Don't do anything stupid, Rose, she said. You're too young for a baby. You don't have the life experience of it. You have not even lived your own life yet. You won't be able to do the kind of job you wish you could. I groaned, mortified. Are we really even discussing this? How did we go from me alleged flirting to a sudden having a litter? I'm not having sex with him or anyone else. And even if I were, I knew about birth control. Why are you talking to me like I'm a child? Because you act like one. I was remarkably like what Drummond had told me. I glad. So you're going to send me to my room now? No, Rose. She suddenly looked tired. You don't have to go to your room, but don't go back there and there either. Hopefully, you don't draw too much attention. You make it sound like I was giving a lap dance in there. I told her. I just had dinner with Lisa. You could be surprising what things can spark rumors. She warned, especially with Adrian Ashrock. With that, she turned and headed off down the hall. Watching her, I felt anger and resentment burn through me. Overreact much? I had not done anything wrong. I know she had her whole blood whore Fermina, but this was extreme, even for her. Worst of all, she could drag me out of here, and several people had witnessed it. For someone who supposedly don't want me attracting attention, she could kind of mess that one up. A couple of Morai, who could be standing near Adrian and me, walked out of the room. They glanced in my direction and they whispered something as they passed. Thanks, Mom, I muttered to myself. Humiliated, I stalked off in the opposite direction, not really sure where I was going. I headed out towards the back of the lodge, away from all the activity. The hall eventually ended, but a door leading to some stairs sat on the left. The door was unlocked, so I followed the stairs upwards to another door. To my pleasure, it opened up into a small rooftop deck that don't appear to see much use. A blanket of snow lay over it all, but it was early morning out here and the sun shone brightly, making everything glitter. I brushed snow off of a large box like object that looked to be a part of the ventilation system. Heedless of my dress, I sat down on it, wrapping my arms around myself. I started off, taking in the view and then sun I rarely got to enjoy. I was startled when the door opened a few minutes later. When I looked back, I was even more startled to see Dremet emerge. My heart gave a small flutter and I turned away, unsure what to think. His boots crunched in the snow as he walked over to where I was sitting. A moment later, he took off his long coat and wrapped it over my shoulders. He sat down beside me. You must be freezing. I was, but I don't want to admit it. The sun is out. He tipped his head back, looking up at the perfect blue sky. I know he missed the sun as much as I did sometimes. It is, but we are still on a mountain in the middle of winter. I don't answer. We sat there in a comfortable silence for a while. Occasionally, a light wind blew clouds of snow around. It was night for Morai, and most could be going to bed soon. So the sky runs were quiet. My life is a disaster. I finally said, it is not a disaster. He said automatically, did you follow me from the party? Yes. I don't even know you were there. His dark clothes indicated he must have been on guardian duty at the party. So you saw the illustrious Janny cost a commission by dragging me out. It was not a commission. Hardly anyone noticed. I saw because I was watching you. I refused to let myself get excited over that. That is not what she said. I told him I might as well have been working a corner as far as she was concerned. I relayed the conversation from the hallway. She is just worried about you, Dremet said when I finished. She overreacted. Sometimes mothers are overprotective. I started at him. Yeah, but this is my mother, and she don't seems that protective, really. I think she was more worried I'm embarrassed her or something. And all that becoming a mother too young stuff was stupid. I'm not going to do anything like that. Maybe she was not talking about you. He said, more silence. My jaw fell open. You don't have the life experience for it. You have not even lived your own life yet. You won't able to do the kind of job you wish you could. My mom had been 20 when I was born. Growing up, that had always seemed really old to me, but now that was only a few years off of me. Not old at all. Did she think she could had me too soon? Had she done a snobby job raising me simply because she don't know any better at the time? Did she regret the way things had turned out between us? And was it maybe possible that she could had some personal experience of her own with Morai man and people spreading rumors about her? I had inherited a lot of her features. I mean, I could even notice tonight with a nice figure she had. She had a pretty face too. Farah, nearly 40 years old. I mean, she could been really, really good looking when she was younger. Assigned. I don't want to think about that. If I did, I might have to reevaluate my relationship with her, maybe even acknowledge my mother as a real person. And I already had too many relationships stressing me. Lisa always worried me, even though she seems to be okay for a change. My so called romance with Manson was in shambles. And then, of course, there was Dreamet. We are not fighting right now. I blurted out. He gave me a side look. Do you want to fight? No, I hate fighting with you. Verbally, I mean. I don't mind in the gym. I thought I detected a hint of smile. Always a half smile for me. Rarely a full one. I don't like fighting with you either. Sitting next to him there, I marveled at the warm and happy emotion springing up inside of me. There was something about being around him that felt so good, that moved me in a way Manson could not. You cannot force love. I realized it is there and it is not. If it is not there, you have got to be able to admit it. If it is there, you have got to do whatever it takes to protect the ones you love. The next word that came out of my mouth astonished me, both because they are completely unselfish and because I actually mean them. You should take it. He flinched. What? Tasha's offer. You should take her up on it. It is really a great chance. I remembered my mom's words about being ready for children. I was not. Maybe she had not been. But Tasha was, and I know Drummond was too. They got along really well. He could not go her, be her guardian, have some kids with her. It could be good deal for both of them. I never expected to hear you say anything like that. He told me, voice tight, especially after what? A bitch I have been? Yeah. I tugged his coat tighter against the cold. It seems like him. It was intoxicating, and I could half imagine being wrapped in his embarrassments. Adrian might have been onto something about the power of scent. Well, like I said, I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want us to hate each other. And well, I squeezed my eyes shut and then opened them. No matter how I feel about us, I want you to be happy. Silence. Yet again, I noticed that my chest hurts. Drummond reached out and put his arms around me. He pulled me to him, and I rested my head on his chest. Rosa, was all he said. It was the first time he could really touch me since the night of the last charm. The practice room had been something different, more animal. This was not even about sex. It was just about being close to someone who cared about the emotion, the kind of connection floated you with. Drummond might run off with Tasha, but I could still love him. I could probably always love him. I cared about Manson, but I could probably never love him. I signed into Drummond, just wishing I could stay like that forever. It felt right being with him, and no matter how much the thought of him and Tasha made me ache, doing what was best for him felt right. Now I know it was time to stop being a coward and do something else that was right. Manson had said I needed to learn something about myself. I just had. Reluctantly, I pulled away and handed Rimit his coat. I stood up. He regarded me curiously, sensing my uneasy. Where you are going? He asked. To break someone's heart. I replied. I admired Rimit for a heartbeat more, the dark, knowing eyes and her silken hair. Then I headed inside. I had to apologize to Manson and tell him there could never been anything between us.